Okay, guys, so I'm pretty much kind of settled on the hardscape. Um, I bought these, well, this one piece was like $60, $70. It goes all the way like this and like that. And then I bought three small pieces of driftwood, which I bundled together with twisty ties or whatever those things are called. And then I kind of cemented it, or I drilled it into a slab of stone at the bottom. Um, in terms of and I also got these rocks just from the back of my some the back stream somewhere. So the rocks at the pet store, they don't actually have smooth rocks. Everyone has like jagged rocks, and I'm going for more of like a river look. So that's why I just decided to go get the rocks from outside. So what I did with the rocks, and obviously you should do this, is that you soak it in boiling water to kill all the parasites that's on there. And then also I did a really good rinse of them. So they all should be pretty good, hopefully. The wood itself is actually a really nice color. It doesn't really come through here because I think this light is actually really cool. So it comes pretty like, also there's some sand on it as well, so I put the sand in there. So it looks really old, but it actually has a really nice color, especially I think once I get a different light, both of these will look good, and also get the sand off them. For the substrate, this is a really, really thin layer of substrate. So basically, pretty much there's not a substrate on there, and that's kind of what I wanted. Because one of the mistakes I made before was it was really difficult to grapple vac, especially with plants. And I had a not deeper, but I had a standard layer of substrate, which is around 2 inches, and all the organics got piled up in there. So it was added to the whole nitrate problems and water quality problems. So now I'm going with basically a bare bottom tank with just a dusting of sand. I didn't actually wash the sand, but there's so little sand that I'm pretty sure a couple water changes and filtration will just get rid of all that dust. But you should wash the sand. I think the next thing I'm doing is basically I'm buying the pump to do the water change. I'm gonna fill this tank up and just drain it, just to make sure the water change system works and all the filters, get the filters going to make sure they work as well as the air pump. And then I'm gonna start buying plants. So the plants I'm going to buy are basically just, I think the standard. Well, I'm gonna get a red lotus because those are pretty awesome looking. Not sure you've seen them before. And I'm gonna get a whole bunch of Vallisneria. So the tall ones in the back, and then smaller ones in the front, like here, especially to hide the banding right there. And that's about it. Just a really simple scape. Hopefully, maybe like along the branches, I would eventually do. Actually, maybe I should think about this now. Maybe I should do some moss along the branches, just to give, add a little flavor to the wood. But I might or might not do that. We'll see. But the next thing I also want to do is the filtration. So because this is pretty much a bare bottom tank, I want to try something new. And what I want to try is, so instead of having the spray bar up here, I want to actually put part of the spray bar up here and then part of it down here as well. So where it's kind of pushing all the waste towards this end here. And then instead of having just an intake, single intake here, I'm gonna have a bar along the bottom or tube where, it'll suck, and inside will be a sponge that's removable. It'll suck in all the detritus and all the waste, right? And before it goes into the filtration system. I'm trying to, and I'm gonna do this. I think I'm gonna do this. I'm trying to create a system where all the waste just kind of gets pushed eventually over here, right? Not obviously not too aggressively, but slowly gets pushed over here, and then it gets sucked up by the filter and the pre-sponge filter or the like sponge, and it gets trapped. And when you do the water change, hopefully what all I need to do is just disconnect that little area, just rinse out the sponge with all the detritus and waste inside, and then that's about it. And then the water change. So I'm hoping with this system I won't have to individually gravel back uh, the tank. And so I guess the hope is to make this as minimal as possible, right? Um, Not automate, but make everything as foolproof as possible, right? So that's, and also did a quick test on the water quality. So I just changed the salt in my system. So my pH is pretty high. It's around 8.4. Alkalinity is pretty high as well, which I know. I also have a TDS meter, so I know it's going to be pretty high. And hardness is pretty hard as well. 425 does make sense. This is basically really close to what my TDS meter will show. And obviously the rest is I don't have any nitrates, whatever, because um, it's just basically, I don't have any chlorine here because it's well water. So yeah, so I'm hoping that this test strip, I'm hoping these are okay for, if I can maintain this water quality. Obviously it's not the best water quality for discus, but if I hopefully maintain decent water quality and change the water pretty often, we should be good. But again, I'm not 100% set on discus yet. I am going to just start with the aquascape, getting the entire system correct or going. Um, you know, I would love to have discus, but if these readings are just way too out of whack for my well water, then maybe not. But anyway, that's the update. Hardscape is pretty much done. Oh, sorry, I do have these little pebbles here too. I have more as well that I'm gonna sprinkle along here once I get the plants in there to hide the plants. And the plants themselves, I'll make a different thing about it, but I'm going to isolate the plants in like cheap like dress socks that you can buy at a dollar store, so that I can take them in and out and place them around different areas. So obviously the substrate is way too low here to plant actual plants, but hopefully with the sock idea that I found online or found on YouTube, I should be able to isolate the or not the waste, or the cloudiness, or the soil from the sand, or from the basically no substrate or the light dusting of sand, to keep everything pretty clean. And if I need to remove the plants, remove algae from them directly, I can do that too with the sock method. Anyway, so that's the update. So this week I'm gonna work on filling it up and getting all the water change system. So I'm gonna buy the pump tonight, and then do the entire plumbing, the modification to the plumbing and the filtration this week as well. And also by the end of the week, I'll probably just buy the plants too. All right, see ya.